This video demonstrates how to use a background image in CSS. So, first let's go to images.google.com. And I want to find an image of a certain size, but let's look for an image of I'm going to look for an image of a feather, okay? Now I want a small image, so I'm going to actually specify the size. I'm going to specify 200 by 200. Okay, so now I pick out a feather. Here's a cute one. All right. So now I always do it this way. I always right click and open image in a new tab, and that makes it easy for me to select out triple click it. Oh, no, it's not going to work for me today. Usually triple click. Okay, copy. Now I'm going to go to JS Fiddle, and I'm going to put this background image in the body. So I'll type the word body to select body. Now, the property is background image. And then you type URL because it's going to be a background image on a URL. And then you put parentheses. And of course a semicolon at the end. Now it's on my clipboard. I'm going to paste that URL in here, and I should have a background image. Let's run and see what it looks like. Oh yeah, so now I have a background image, but it's repeating. Maybe I don't want it to repeat. So a lot of times when you do a background image, you might do this. Background image, no repeat, because I only want to see it one time. I don't want to see it forever and ever. Right, so run. And I still see them though. Background image, no repeat. Oh, it's because it's not background image, it's background repeat. Sorry about that. All right, so let's try something different now though. Let's actually get rid of all of this and go back out to Google search. And this time, instead of searching for something small, let's search for a landscape image. So I'm going to turn off, I'm going to go to any size. And I'm going to look for a picture of something like a waterfall or a field or something like that. So I'll look for a waterfall. I'm looking for a landscape image, okay? Look at something that's kind of wide. And actually when we make websites, we're a lot of times looking for a image that's wide because it'll work better on the website. Here's a Georgia waterfall. That looks nice. So I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to open it in a new tab. You have a nice short URL, so I can grab that URL. Now that URL, I copied it. It is on my clipboard. Now I go back to JS Fiddle. Let's run it. All right. So now this is kind of just like what our homework's going to be. I'm going to create a div. And I'm going to give that div an ID of home hero. And I have to close that div. Now if I run that, I won't see anything because it doesn't know what to do. So now I need to give it a background image, right? I'm going to give that div a background image. So I'm going to type in, now on the CSS side, I type the hashtag and home-hero. So I'm saying, I'm selecting anything that has the ID of home-hero. And that's where I type in background image. And remember I type URL, and then the parentheses, and then a semicolon. You have to spell URL correctly though. Then I'm going to place my URL in there, and let's run and see what happens. And nothing happens. But that's just because we need to give our div a height. So let's give it a height of 300 pixels. Because right now the div is 0, right? So it has nothing to give it size yet. So we'll just add a height of 300 pixels, and then we'll see if our picture shows up. And there it is. Our picture is in there with a height of 300 pixels. Now, the problem is that the waterfall is in the middle, and this is I want to control where this lands in here, right? I don't want it just to be any place. So that's where I can use background size. And one way to do background size is 100%. So if I run that, let's see what happens. And now my picture is centered. Now there's kind of a problem with using 100% though. Our textbook uses it, but the problem with it is that it stretches the picture. It stretches. So when I drag and if I make this a different size, see, the waterfall doesn't look like that at all. So if I looked at this in a smartphone, it would look like that, and that's not right. But that's the way our textbook handles it. It kind of has a workaround, but it's not the best way to do it. So it's better to use either cover or contain. So one is to use cover, and that will just make sure every inch of the background is covered. All right. And another one is contain, and that will make sure that the entire image appears. I think it's going to look a lot the same. Oh no, it doesn't. So with contain, it was cutting off part of it before to get to the 300, and so now it actually repeated there. So that's why I use cover a lot for my background images, right? Now what's cool about a background image is now I can actually type on top of it if I want to. So I can actually put an H1 in here and put beautiful waterfall. It is hard to put text on top of images, but we'll learn some techniques in class to make it easier to see that text on an image. Okay, so that is how we use background images.